Okay, we're gonna, September 16th, school board meeting to order. Roll call, Mike Ward. Here. Ree Butler,
Here.
Jen Pendleton,
Here.
Mark Moody. Here. And I'm Matt Bennett. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Agenda adjustments.
I got a few.
Yep.
We added an executive session, which is probably on the agenda that you have in front of you now because I added it to the one this morning, so it's, I'm assuming that's probably.
So
on
it gets
there.
the numbers on it.
Yeah, but it wasn't, if you didn't have that added. Yeah,
Okay.
the audit, you mentioned a few minutes ago, Matt, the audit that was scheduled for this, meeting was pushed back to the October meeting, so that'll be a fiscal year 23 audit, final
Okay.
audit. Another change, you'll see later in the calendar is the AOS 93 October budget. That was scheduled for the 1st of October, however, that now is night that has to be the Jefferson Budget Town Meeting. So we pushed it, I just like to, reach out to the AOS board, it's October 6th.
Yeah, it's October 6th.
Thank you. October 6th, which is a Monday.
At 5:30 at Central.
Yep. And then we're gonna add, you want to add discussion about mechanical services, maintenance contract, with the first year being the $9,695 and the 3-year total being 30,000 so.
Yeah.
Well, I've added.
Add that to new business.
Yep.
Okay, also, I would like to add,
Sign.
the sign out front.
New business,
Old business,
old business.
yeah, under just, yeah, discuss it.
Signage. Yeah, they've added it. Okay.
Good.
Good.
Anybody got anything else? No? Okay, so we're gonna go to public comment, but I'm just gonna reiterate, at public comment is the only time the public's allowed to speak. Just because you ask us a question doesn't mean we have to reply back. It's more or less for a comment based on what we're discussing, what was previously discussed, or things you see should be brought up as a topic.
And it should be things that are on the current agenda.
Right, and things on the current agenda. So that being said, is there any public comment? Nope, okay, no presentations. Looking for motion, action.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 19th meeting.
Thank you, Mike,
I'll second.
thank you, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Regular meeting of the school board will be October 21st. EOS board meeting from September 3rd was light discussion on the movement of Bristol and South Bristol on where they're at. They are moving forward.
They do have a meeting next Tuesday night for, look like a budget workshop, if anyone's interested.
Next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday night at South Bristol. I want to say 6 o'clock, give me a second.
on how they will budget it.
It's an informational workshop, so,
Can you say that again, Todd?
yeah, this, the 23rd,
It's 20.
6 o'clock at South Bristol. It'll be both Bristol and South Bristol boards combined, so they have posted an agenda. Because they'll have a quorum for both.
Okay. And other than that. Well, we only looked over evaluations.
Yep.
And that was it.
Can I ask one question? Is there a facilities meeting next time too, before that school meeting on the 21st?
Ours?
Yeah.
Yes, so we'll be holding facility meetings
Okay, at 4:30.
at 4:30.
Okay.
One thing I didn't. can I chime in?
Yeah.
So one thing I talked to our two members of the board who are on the policy committee. It's not uncommon for subcommittees to meet simultaneously. So if they wanted to have their policy committee, right now, we've been meeting on Wednesday afternoons, but if they wanted to have their policy committee meetings at the same time as your
Yep,
building facilities committees meetings, they could. It would just mean I would have to bounce back and forth between meetings probably.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know if that's why you were asking, Mike.
It was in part why I was asking, but Tom probably wants to be in both too, so
It's a tough.
yeah, we might have to just work out a different time.
either that or, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, between Todd and I, yeah.
okay, but yeah, at the last board meeting, that's all we went over. It was a fairly short and sweet meeting. The next meeting is October sixth. Not the first. Facility maintenance report.
Not really a whole lot new to report since the last meeting, although one big thing is the new 2 to 10 custodian will be starting tomorrow. He'll start at 2 o'clock. Dan will stay with him for however long he thinks he needs to get him oriented to the building and tasks and all that, but he'll be starting there. His name is Jason Crawford. He's retired military,
Oh, that's who it is?
and
You never told me that.
he didn't.
I was gonna say, he won't take much to get a license. He's already got a
He's already got a CDL,
Okay,
so
I didn't ask for that. Nice.
that's why I didn't tell you, because he does have a CDL,
I do know that.
yeah.
Huh? He's a Bristol boy.
Yeah, so he is starting tomorrow night, so that'll be great. There's been a couple questions around air handlers, just so everybody knows, the air handlers that are in the building are running. Running at optimal condition. They were undersized when they were installed 30 years ago, and that has not improved in the last 30 years. So we do know that, so I do keep saying this, but opening the windows is really a good thing. That's really all I have to report. Yeah,
Have you been testing the air quality down there again, or has it been tested again? I know we were,
it was tested again not too long ago, and it's okay with the windows open.
okay,
Close the windows and it's not so okay anymore.
okay, so we're still opening the windows
Yeah.
though, maintaining.
Yeah.
Have we sent, I know last year, we sent out an email, to all the parents, letting them know the situation with the air. And I don't know if this is something that, Tom's tracking or not. So Adam had sent out a letter to all the families, and I know there's new kids down in that wing now. And those families, I think, would need to know about it, so I would send a letter out to all families again and letting them know the situation, knowing that it's being monitored and that that's why windows are being left open, so that we're tracking it and the air quality is an acceptable level.
That's it. Okay, superintendent,
So since our last meeting to now, school started. So on August 25th, we had our all-staff workshop day over at Jefferson's Village School in the morning. And then staff returned to their individual schools for the afternoon. So that was the 4 towns, all staff all together over there. On the 26th, all staff were in their home schools and working with their administrators. And then on the 27th, we had just teachers in the district, and they went to Camden to see Wes Kishnick. Pretty dynamic speaker, I would say. I'm seeing teachers in the back nodding. I had the opportunity to see him 2 years ago when he presented he came and spoke at the Maine Superintendent's Association meeting. But really, I thought he brought humor to it. I thought he brought a good mix of keeping the old and integrating it with the new. I know staff are like, oh, do we really want to go to a workshop and go see a speaker on the Wednesday before kids come back? I heard some concerns, but everything that I got for feedback after that seemed to be very positive. And again, I'm just looking to the back row to see if I'm getting nods of agreement. So I think it was a good way to start off the school year. And then obviously our students came back to us on the 28th. On September 10th, Noble students were invited to join Great Salt Bay for a cyberbullying and youth victimization presentation by Homeland Security. I shared that with you that all our schools, Jefferson hosted one for Jefferson, Whitefield, Bristol hosted one for Bristol and South Bristol, and Great Salt Bay hosted one for Noblesboro. I know there was one particular person there because they're sitting in the front row right now. So the turnout it's what you expect or something like that, but it really is. I don't think we can underplay the importance of educating not only our students, but our parents, because technology is just so quickly changing, and there are some people that use it for real bad reasons. So provide as much information as we can. Staff had asked about providing something for younger students. The Maine State Police does a thing called NetSmart, and I had reached out to the detective who does that last year, and he was going to do a presentation for our staff to tell them what they could utilize for materials to take into their classrooms to help the students. He has since been promoted, so he doesn't do that anymore, but the gentleman that's taking his place, the deputy director that's taking his place, reached out to me yesterday. So when we have our workshop in November, I'm gonna try to get him to come. He's already said the dates. He's blocked it off for us. So I'll try to get him to come they usually do come presentations to students in the classroom. But I've asked if we could tailor it to come and do presentations for our staff, so then our staff can take it into their classroom. So they're willing to try that. So we'll see how that goes, but just staying on top of the whole cyber safety stuff.
Can I ask you a question
Yeah.
about that, Todd? Didn't the SRO come in last year? Didn't the school resource officer come to all the schools last year and do something with that here as
I
well?
wrote Solo. I don't know if Solo did or not. I would ask Tom, but he wasn't here. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious.
I don't know if he does it or not. I can ask him. What Matt was referring to, the 88 degrees. Yesterday, I spent the day in Augusta listening to the Drummond Woodson attorneys talk about legislative updates that are coming down the road or could be coming down the road. Let's see, I got to sit and listen to how many different ones? I don't know, it was 46 pages, and each one was a different legislative thing. Some policy related, some building related, some educational related. They do it at the beginning of every year just to make superintendents so things that are coming down the road. The only thing that really requires, that will require immediate attention is we will have to have a cell phone policy, so I'll be talking to the two gentlemen on the policy committee. MSMA does have a sample cell phone policy, but you need to have that in play by August 1st. So we will have to tackle that. That'll be one of those policies that we need to get into place. And I know these guys are looking at other policies as we go along as well, so as things change, I certainly will keep you up to speed.
Do you know if that is electronic anywhere? An electronic version of that?
I can find out.
Just curious. I'd be interested in looking at it.
And in the future, just so you know, I was sitting next to a board member from Telstar. So there were board members that want to go sit and listen to attorneys talk. Not all day. But there was a gentleman that was sitting next to me, that's from board member from Telstar, so it is open. If you're interested, next year. Policy committee, I just made reference to them. They met on September 2nd and September 10th. They've gone through about 8 different policies. You'll have those in front of you today for a first read. Again, as you read it over the first read, if you want to send it back to the policy committee, if there's something that you see that you want them to look at again, that would start the whole process over again, so that particular policy would come back to you for a first. Next, it's good to go. If it's necessary for any changes, they'll just bring it to you as a second read at your October meeting.
Okay. Will the policy committee, will they just kind of go right back through all of our policies and just fine tune them if needed?
They seem to be having fun.
So we discussed that actually at our last meeting, and we're going in and looking at the dates that they were approved. So we're trying to find the oldest policies, the most outdated ones. We found one from like 2011, I think.
Yeah.
That hasn't been updated since then. So we're gonna start, aside from what's mandated that we have to do.
And then go to the
We'll
old.
go to the old ones and start working our way up.
I'd like it if the committee would actually just, even ones that were done in the last 2 years, right? Roll through all of them.
I think we will be.
I mean, because I think there were some that just seemed easy, so they kind of slid through
Well, there's
easy.
some that legally you had to update, so
Right.
those were the ones that were.
Yeah, that
Those were-
have to be done sooner,
Yeah.
yeah. But now I think they all should be eventually.
It's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to going through all of them.
Well, good. Having fun too?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good time.
All right, it's so good. I think I'm gonna join you next time.
Yes,
Take
yes,
care of that.
What do we spend our afternoons? So that they're working on that. They did do a lot of work.
Can you clarify that process? So you said that the policy that Mike and Mark went over is in front of us? Like we have it in the packet or?
You have it ready.
He's got a.
I got them back.
Oh, okay.
I got the policy, we've got either the existing policy that was already on the books or the policy that we have to change. We have, in this case, the MSMA.
Yep.
Versions.
Yep.
And what you'll see is where they've gone through and they've either struck out language, which will be struck through, or they'll have added language, which is in red. So you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
So in that case, it was like 2 or 3 different policies. You guys went through
8
them.
policies there.
And these are the policies as you guys think we should adopt them. We'll take a look and then, okay.
And if you have concerns, you can push it back to them. I mean, take policies is a lot. If you wanted to take it and look it over and send out, let us know electronically, you can do that as well, whichever the board feels is the best way to do it.
That sounds like a really good process. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And having the paper copy will
And
be
they're
great.
doing a good job.
I see the pile, I think I'm ahead of myself here, but is it just the policies that we brought to the board? So it's not the old ones and,
It's just the ones that you made the adjustments.
okay.
Last question, and I know maybe it kind of gets to the same time, but of course that's open to the public too.
Policy meetings?
Yeah.
Policy, the subcommittee meetings aren't closed. I don't know, anyone will want to go sit on a policy committee meeting, but if you want to, you certainly can.
You don't think there's anybody that sits on, or any meetings?
And go to join.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I just didn't know. if
They're not
anybody else-
closed.
Okay,
We don't post agendas for them, though.
right, no,
And they're not recorded.
And they're not recorded.
well, same as our facility, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming like if there are old policies we wanted to look at to compare and contrast versus the new
You
version.
could actually go in if you wanted to, and you could actually look at the policies yourself, and then I'm sure these guys would be happy to take recommendations and suggestions for things you think should be looked at.
Okay,
I know Jefferson, for example, field trips is a hot topic, so that's one of the ones they tackle
Mhm.
over there,
Plus others.
plus others. Yeah.
Great.
The only other thing I have, which you're probably gonna refer to a little later, and we have an executive session, the negotiation members of the board met with the support staff on September 3rd, and they meet with them again tomorrow.
Before us.
Is you.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm here. I'm here. Yep, right, that is us, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, what time?
What time is
four
that?
thirty,
Thank you.
At central office.
Right,
I'll text you.
thank you.
Actually, at 4. Did we want to meet
Four?
before? Did we want to meet a little while before or not?
I have it written down at home, I'll make sure Matt's there on
Make
time.
sure it's.
Thank you.
Whatever time it is, I'll be there.
Okay. That's it for me.
Okay. Tom, principal
All right.
report.
Thank you, Matt. We had a really fantastic start to the year. No doubt, you know, the Noblesboro Central School is just really loved by the kids, so they were excited to be back. Nervous, but at the same time, all of those nerves are kind of going by the wayside, and we're in the reality of the school year. And one of the things that I wanted to say was that, you know, the teachers here work really hard. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, so they spend the end of their summer getting their their classroom ready. We're getting the building ready, so all the credit goes to the staff for the success we've had to start the year. And we're up and running. It's great. Also, Paula Schuster, who's in the audience, she devoted some time with some families to help spruce up the front of the school, as well as some other volunteers from the community to kind of take out that area. So the building's looking great. Outside grounds are looking great. I also want to point to some new people that we've added to staff who have really integrated into the building. Jessica Freeman and Mandy Freeman, two special education teachers who have been working hard to support not just students in the program, but students throughout the building and staff throughout the building. Then also Leah Nook Frost, Marina Hingston, Emma Goltz, and Lisa Stevens, or Steves. They've all been in those resource rooms, and they're developing quite a little bit of a team. Just to let you know, we still do have 2 vacancies under special education. So we are working with kind of a skeleton ship in those areas. So I'll shout out to a lot of different people throughout the school year, but that's just then the new space, then the new people, and they're really off and running. Dan Biscoff, our custodian, we lost a custodian a few weeks ago. Dan's been taking over that, and also Nicole St. Cyr comes up from Bristol. She's been here quite a bit. John's, deserves a lot of credit for coordinating that, getting us through until our new person tomorrow. We're planning the open house on Thursday, October 9th, 5:30 to 6:15. Our 8th grade outing trip is September 26th through the 28th. If you recall, 8th grade outing took place in the spring, not in the fall. But Reed and staff are ready to go. Parent teacher conferences will be held 2nd and 3rd week of November. So that's a good opportunity to check in with teachers. We've done assessments, see where they really are, as opposed to open house when it's a shorter time for everyone. And it's just an opportunity to come in and see the building and the classroom. Alan Tomasello is consulting as a BCBA 2 days per week. So when I talk about those special education areas, he's a key piece to providing best practice in education. Summer reading celebration was held the first week. We had Mr. Drew's Exotic Animals right in here. That was really fun. Grade 3 senior buddies got our first visit to NCS, and Paula, who's here in the audience, brings that. Grade 4 will be visiting the Hidden Valley Nature Center monthly, so we have a calendar for that, and grade 7 is coordinating with the Waldo Theater through a grant they provided to us. They did all the grant work and they just put it in our lap and we arranged to be there. So that's a great kind of integrates with our curriculum with Mr. Sutmeyer in grade 7. Because those are the things as the kids get to the upper grades, they want to integrate disciplines. It's not just math time, it's not just social studies time. It's, something that we can do with the Waldo Theater to integrate different theater and learning. Curriculum instruction assessment, benchmark assessments are being completed to start the year. We do those for K through 8. We make sure we know where kids are starting. We are planning on professional development collaboration on 10-10 around student support and intervention. Started to talk about that at the beginning of the year, and there was a definite need to, have someone come in and support what we do in the building every day to support kids. Positive reinforcement of school-wide expectations for students will be underway next week. We have a K through 4 program that I'm gonna start, and then we're gonna have a 5 through 8 program that I'm gonna start. I'm gonna talk to the kids about how we're gonna recognize positive behavior in the building. It's positive language, it's positive reinforcement through kind of an incentive for the kids to do well. As a staff, we talked a little bit about in our professional learning communities, how that can really benefit having a school-wide program that recognizes everybody and highlights kids who are doing well and good behaviors. It's all about the positive. Our staff will be looking at a book study for the 25-26 school year, so that'll be coming up. The NWEA fall testing for reading and math for grades 1 through 8 will take place from now until the middle of October. That happens in the spring as well. It's for the upper grades, it's called Main 3-year, but it's still the NWEA. Community collaboration, Hardy Roots is a familiar organization. Working with a few of our students, we're gonna look more into that partnership this fall. Our Noblesboro Parent Teacher Organization is planning a host of activities this fall, including a school dance and some other things. Let's see. The Noblesboro Fire Department worked with us on our first fire evacuation of the school year and provided valuable information and feedback during our debrief. They talked about everything school safety. So just to get underway with them, John and I, we want to include them in all the conversations with school safety going further, in addition to Lincoln County Sheriffs. That'll be next. Facilities and grounds. John gave a lot today at our meeting, but annual maintenance was performed by sports fields on the baseball and softball infields. Interstate septic, pump the tanks, and Pine State food equipment, and our kitchen continues to be fully operational. Our new hire for the evening custodian will be joining Dan tomorrow. And then our enrollment remains the same as last month at 137. And as you can see, some of our classrooms are a little bit larger than others. But we teach kids all the same here. So that's that. Anybody has any questions?
I had a question, just curious about the benchmark assessments that are completed at the start of each year. So looking at baseline for each level where they're supposed to be at, is it a standardized testing that is from the Department of Education of the state, or is this something each teacher does individually to see where they should be at?
Yep. So we have a program that our reading program is leveled program. So when you see that level M, level N, and a grade level equivalent, that is universal language in education. So it doesn't necessarily have to come from like the State Department or anything like that. And I'll say this again, the best practice is to ensure that your kiddo's grade level and that you know what to do to go from there. A key piece of that though, especially in the early grades, is reading isn't just a reading level, but it also involves like phonetics and phonemic awareness, sounding out, words and things like that. And then also knowing what you read. Some kids read with great fluency, you can hear them loud and clear, they're one word to the next. but their comprehension isn't well. So when we look at those baseline assessments, we look at that. The NWEA does that as well, especially for the upper grades. Looks at, even in math, numbers and operations, there are different skill sets that go along with a complete thing. So yeah, it's very data specific. It's very, scientific. And then at some point this year, we'll go through the science of reading. There's new research out there and how kids learn how to read and things like that. And some of the programs coming up highlight and feature that. So, yeah.
Thank you. That was gonna be my next question was. The benchmark assessments are being completed now, but NUI is also being completed now for grades 1 through 8. Is it?
Yeah.
So they're separate entirely.
It's separate,
Okay.
different types of tests, different way to measure. If we just looked at one test in the fall, it would only give us so much information. Think of it this way, that a lot of the benchmark assessments are like in reading and math, it is like that leveled thing.
Right.
Then NWA breaks it out more comprehensively, like, the different things that make what is a good reader.
Okay, just
Yeah.
curious. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, good.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Finance report.
Yep, Peter's waiting until Thursday. He's actually getting his certificate in education finance. He's doing a residency for the next 3 days doing that, or today and the next 2 days. So what you have in front of you, you have the fiscal year 25 end of year report. He's still in the process of cleaning that. Or should be, you'll see some notes on that one. That's nice. It has your notes on the side.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to figure out why something's overdrawn, he's just trying to get those in the right cost and make whatever journal entries he has to make. So he'll have that finalized by October. That should be set and done. If you look at the next one, that is your the start of this year. And this year, it just commenced, obviously. The biggest thing you're gonna see out of there are your salaries, because you had your first payrolls come out of this one, so. He'll be reviewing the payroll encumbrances next month. If you had, and there was some question, Matt reached out, had a question about a first student bill that you may or may not have been aware of. What it said was it had a breakdown of an X, I don't have the amount in front of me, but it was an X number of dollars. And it was broken down by elementary and secondary. Well, as you no longer provide secondary transportation. The bottom number was actually what it should have been for the month, but they were using an old formula they had done to try to break it out between secondary and elementary. That number should have all just been on elementary. So the business office has made a note that on the future warrants that it will just be elementary, it won't be secondary, but it was not, we were paying for a secondary run that you didn't have.
Just look bad.
It just looked bad on paper. Matt got it. But that's the what was it? Recaught it?
Recaught it. Math followed that.
Okay.
Recaught it, texted Matt, because I knew he would.
So, that's it. If you, like I said, if you look those over, Peter will be back on Friday, but if you look those over, you have any specific questions, just reach out to me and I'll answer for you.
So the one question, and you
Yep.
can take it to him if need be,
Yep.
how come we don't start payroll on July 1st?
Because teachers' contracts run through the office, administrative run through in June.
Okay, so that's how it rolls every year?
Yep.
Okay, so they have to back the books up,
Now, and that, I might have to ask him how they actually. done it,
because if the
but-
books technically are supposed to close out as of
Right.
July 1st, I don't know how you keep expending on
the end of
that,
August.
nor would you ever be able to get a guy your audit paper.
I can find it.
Yeah, if you could, I
Yeah,
just,
I said it's been covered.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
Well,
I'll get confirmation from Peter.
in the secondary IVF is insured value,
Is your insured value factor?
that's why we went over on that,
Yeah,
right?
because remember they came back.
Well, they came back at 10%.
Against 10%, that's a percentage of 10%.
Correct.
Bigger than, because it had stayed during the pandemic, it had stayed at a lower level. It went back to actually what it was, that 10% is what it had been pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just went, yeah,
And the problem with that is you don't get those numbers till after you go into your fiscal year.
right,
So you budget on what you anticipate.
okay. Anybody see anything else that have a question about?
I have a comment, just out of curiosity, because I saw this earlier. How does our property insurance not come in accurate? How do we not get an accurate number going into the year knowing from our insurance company? And then it comes in almost $1,500 on this.
I'm looking at John here. So
I just don't understand how that can happen. When I get an insurance quote, that's my quote. With my insurance, and that's what I pay. But then we get billed almost 1,500 more.
Do we get quotes though, or is it just based on what you think the increase is gonna be? I know when
I
it comes,
believe the insurance is all MSMA. And I thought they gave you a number. But I'm not sure. I
We
don't
can
deal
look
with the
into that.
insurance.
And the only other question I had, just, that was more of a comment.
Yeah.
But
I'll find out.
all the notes, who were those for or from?
Peter, I'd
Peter.
say put those
Okay.
notes.
Peter put those there, probably
Because he
because he
didn't-
wasn't gonna be here to.
Yeah, well, he didn't, and he
Okay.
didn't put it on a bunch of them, right? Because there's all sorts of other things that I would have probably put a little note next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Next. I'm looking for a motion from a letter of resignation from Jack DePozo. Motion to accept,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Good, that one easy.
Exit interviews, do we know?
Exit interviews,
I know these two met with him, but
I'm just scared.
um. Support staff CBA negotiations, so we're still moving forward. We're just at the one spot where. We always get to.
and that's what you have the executive session for.
Yeah, and that's kind of what our executive for. Other than that, everything seems to be fairly smooth.
I think on the whole, it's been positive and there's
Yeah.
been some forward movement. And it's been good, but it's kind of to be expected that there will be places where we don't agree.
Yeah, that's been turned over, Drummond Woodson, Matt gave me the additional information that they needed, so the land person is working on the language around that. I'll give them another week or so, and then I'll reach out to them about that.
And I guess just so everybody's up to speed. I've kind of dragged heels on that, so we've never got it deeded over, so that's what we're doing right now. I'm trying to get all the deeds drawn up. And then with their attorney, make sure everybody's in agreement, so move forward on that piece. Safety issues, playground,
Apparently they've been addressed, as we heard earlier.
They have been addressed, the rebar's been removed. The one concern I have is the playground has a 6x6 structure built around the playground and then wood chips on the inside of it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure you can actually do that anymore. Cause if you're on the swing, if you come off that swing, you don't land in the wood chips, you land on the 6x6. You know what I mean? It's too close to it.
yeah,
So I think that's something that we do need to look at some point in time, is taking it. And using some kind of different material
the wood chips.
than edge it. I don't think the 6x6 is a really great idea.
And
Yeah.
I think too, to add to this is they're pretty worse for the wear. The reason why the rebar was shown through, so, yeah, just a safety aspect and.
Yeah.
There must be a way to, transition that.
Yeah, they make a rubber edging that.
Okay,
So question related to that, I know the wood, like you said, is in bad shape around that, and we've all seen it.
Of course.
What is our liability for not during school hours? I understand that recess and things are different. Outside of school hours, it's owned by the town. If families come and play on the playground, because the gate's always unlocked over there. How liable are we?
My personal opinion is you put a sign up that says, play
play your own risk.
Hmm.
Office,
So something should be put up.
Yeah, to eliminate that liability.
Okay. Does anyone know what Great Salt Bay did too? Cause I know theirs is constantly in use.
I don't think they have anything,
They don't.
no,
Just
there's no other town that I know, Jefferson doesn't have anything, Bristol doesn't, it's almost one of those things, it's a public playground, right?
I mean, the
It's
town
public
owns
property.
it, yeah.
Um. Yeah, I think it's always just been taken for granted, it's. You're there on the weekend, it's
Right.
on you. Same with the basketball, right, you break an ankle on the weekend. You can't come back on the school for that.
Well, that's what my question would be, I guess, if that did happen or someone got hurt on that
Yeah.
piece of wood, if they can try to sue the town or something and say.
Yeah, I
This
don't.
has been
I actually
identified
don't-
as not
that
being
Might be a
good.
good thing to ask an attorney, but I'm not sure they can, because like I said, there's no other school that has any sign. For-
signage?
We can get some.
I mean, you just need one on the entrance, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Okay, new business.
Sign.
Signage, all right, signage, sorry.
Right into it, perfect. You want to talk
Signage,
about?
yeah,
signage?
so Mike had reached out. And said, hey, we're gonna do this sign. We started discussing it before. I agree, we ought to take it down. I don't think we should do any vinyl lettering. I think we actually, somebody should either paint the lettering. We take it into the art room, let them do the lettering and maybe the lion. I mean, if you were willing to take it down and, sand it, paint it all
Yeah.
white to give them something to go on. Because if we were gonna do any vinyl, I would think it would be better to have a plastic board
Mhm.
and wrap it.
Yeah.
And those will hold up for years that way.
I think even after it's painted, we could seal the whole thing.
Yeah, but even if it's every 10-year project.
Yeah, definitely. So I went and looked at it, like I said before, this meeting. And it'll come off easily. If everyone's good with it, I'm gonna stain those posts white. They're just weathered looking. It would dress it up a little bit.
I mean, I'm good with that.
I'll get that board to bare wood and then I guess from there we'll find out if it's something that the art room wants to take care of.
Yeah.
If we're just gonna paint.
So originally,
Yeah,
it was gonna be
yeah.
Reed and
Olivia.
Olivia that were gonna tackle the sign.
Well, and I wanna make sure that other people, cause that was just me going off of my memory, but did other people hear that as well? Okay.
I don't remember who it was.
It was, yeah, it was. So I'd say
You guys heard that as well?
I'd say they didn't get to it.
For the eighth graders to do this year.
Yeah.
I think I think that's ideal.
So this weekend I'm gonna take it down because it's terrible. And just
Yes.
strip it and
We
paint it
know where it
white and
is.
then I'll bring it in here and
Yeah.
it has a vinyl strip on top. I told Matt, it's actually nice because it kept water from going into the top of the sign, the wood. So I think once it's cleaned up, we can just recaulk that and screw that strip back on top. It keeps the water from going into it.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I think whatever we do is gonna be a huge improvement. I mean, right now it looks very bad.
yeah.
And I don't wanna be the taste police, and my business doesn't look amazing right now, but it does not look good.
Okay,
Mention one more thing on signage.
sure.
So we had a request, to put up some signage to remind people to remove their dog. Keys from the playground when they're letting their dogs run on the playground. It's become an issue.
Has it? So we may, I mean, yeah, if that's not, I can't even imagine that became an issue. Yeah, either that or if it doesn't get cleared up, we put signs up that say no dogs allowed.
Or redirect them to the Route 1 ball field.
Well, that's what they
Seriously,
use in the
that'd be
high
a bit-
grass. That's actually what people do.
I mean, the infield, people bring their dogs there and play with them and let them go, and we had to put signs up.
Say pick
For
stuff
Lincoln Little
up.
League saying to clean up after your dog, cause we'd go to play games and there's piles everywhere.
Did it work?
No,
So I'm gonna chime in on this. Signs don't work. People don't read them. I just know this from my area where I live. You just end up with a ton of signs and it makes you even more angry because you put up signs and nobody's read them. I would be much more likely to go the no dogs allowed route, because I feel like that kills several birds with one stone. Not everybody's comfortable around dogs. And dog culture, I get it, but sometimes it's not appropriate to bring your dog.
I think the one issue that I could see coming from that is that we have a staff member that brings 2 dogs every day.
Yeah,
And if we're saying the public and a public owned facility can't bring their dog here, but we have staff doing it, it's kind of,
are we talking
But-
about this scenario out
well,
here?
either if we're
But
saying no
also
dogs
eventually
here.
that could, that's another thing that has never been addressed that could be, I mean, yes, they bring it, but. We're not even sure how that works.
Right.
Because that's been brought up. To have the dogs in, even though I don't think it's a bad thing,
Right,
but it could be an issue, with allergy, with anything like that, right?
well, we had someone asking before I got off the board. If it was It's a good segue, I guess, if it's a liability and if these are service animals that have been trained and we know aren't gonna be reacting inappropriately in certain circumstances.
So eventually we may have to look at the whole picture, but I would be more apt just throw a sign up for now that says, please pick up after your dog, and then as soon as it doesn't work, then change it.
Yeah, I feel differently, but if the board,
I think a short-term solution is a sign and and we gotta, I feel like the issue of dogs being here would have to be addressed if we're saying
Yeah, I
people who
think the
live
whole
here
thing.
can't bring theirs here.
Right.
yeah, yep,
Unless-
dogs are polarizing.
Yeah,
Yep, I was gonna say policy, policy will
Well,
dictate a
that's-
lot of that, so.
Yeah. No, I'd say start small, and if we have to, we'll cover the whole thing.
Mm.
So
I
nobody-
want, now the town does own this and that ball field on Route 1.
Right.
And that, I mean, there's signs up saying that they encourage you to bring your pets there, they just want you to clean up.
Is the scenario that people are bringing their pets here and using it as a dog park, or is the scenario like people are bringing
Coming to
their,
games,
right?
it's
Both.
probably both.
I've actually been here on the weekends doing things. And people bring their dogs here just to play in the field.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. at
I
all.
actually think there's a gentleman that walks his dogs every night.
Yes,
all
there
around the
is.
perimeter.
Yeah,
So I think it's not just games.
Right,
We've had complaints from staff having to clean up because they're
on the field.
on the field and the playground,
Yep.
so. It's an issue.
I'd be willing to put the signs up and see if they work. The
I think that's, I
scenario you
mean, what
talked about,
do you guys thought?
I think it's a fair start and go from there.
Yeah, and if we don't go there, we have to address the whole thing anyway, right? Cause we can't call the kettle black and
Right.
tell one person and not the other.
I agree.
Well, if you would, John, you have a sign for that too? New business. Unless anybody else has any outside things, no? Policy committee,
Well, that's just, I kind of mentioned that in my report, so that's just when they met, and that's why you have the policies.
so this is everything they went through?
Yep. The only other thing you wanted before we jump to that probably is the mechanical services maintenance contract, did you want to talk?
Yep, I did, so in new business, we also added, we actually floated through last year. With no mechanical services contract. They came and did the work, I don't think they billed any different than they would have if we had had a contract, which was nice. They have come with a 3-year contract. The first year is $9,695.
$600.95.
$9,600.95. Is that what you said?
Yep.
It's a 3-year contract. The total number,
$30,044.
$30,044
Over 3 years.
over 3 years and 0 cents.
0 cents.
The 3% increase per year.
Yeah, so I would be looking for a motion to accept the 3-year contract and to accept the $30,044. That way we don't have to, because we've lowered our limit, so this way it would be out there that every year this could just be expended without coming back to the board. Now with that, they, and John may be able to say it better. But they clean the burners, clean the furnaces once, which is included in this. Do all the air exchange filters, check the belts. And clean them twice a year. They give us a reduction in what their hourly rate is, so they don't charge like an on-call rate, and it's less than their normal everyday rate. I think it's a good thing.
So I'll make a motion. To get to the discussion part. I'll make a motion to accept the $30,044 over 3 years.
Okay, a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion.
So what service is that $30,000 getting us that we're not currently getting? I know that if we don't have a contract, we're paying them by an hourly or by the job, right?
So you pay them hourly at a higher rate than they will with this. You pay them, so if they have to come out in the middle of the night, that's a service call, right? Now you have to also pay them to clean the furnace once a year. And to do all the, air exchangers.
So do we know what we paid them last year?
They thought we were under contract.
So we weren't paid based on being on call and
Right.
after hours.
We've
rates.
always technically had a contract, but last year somehow we floated through.
We were
with no
contracted with them before.
Always.
Is this something, if you're gonna take a new contract, is this something we have to put out to bid?
No,
Don't legally
we
have
don't
to?
actually legally have to put anything out to bid.
I thought we did.
No, unless it's one of the policies
I'm pretty sure over a certain amount, it has to go up to bid.
per, school policy.
Right, so even things like they have to be advertised and there were stipulations surrounding it. I know even for like mowing and plowing and all that, that we put out to bid every 3 years.
Okay, I guess that would be something the policy or Todd needs to look into.
So I'm just curious, I mean. Understanding that basically they did us a favor, they're not trying to like collect retroactively on us for not having a contract and not getting that extra money.
But also, I don't think we've ever, so last year. It was just looked into, I actually reached out and wanted to know. What the contract was and all that to. The finance director, and he never got back to me. But so it's not I think it's something that we do. Always anyway, and we have been doing through them, and I don't think we've ever put it out to bid.
They did go out to bid 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah,
Initially? Okay,
it went out to bid and they were. Half. Of the contract,
okay.
and a bunch of what bid on it. It's. How do you get people to bid on really old equipment?
Yeah.
Normally in. Policies in other schools and other places, normally there's a clause in your bidding package that for preferred vendors and rollover contracts. So you may find that in your policy, I don't know, I've never read the policy yet, but.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not against it, I just wanna make sure that we're good with it, just award it, if we don't have one.
If you could find out,
I was gonna look at,
do you know, is it a 30-day?
I have the policy site up.
Did they give us, when they?
They don't usually hold me to a 30-day contract, to 30-day notice.
Okay,
No.
so as long as they don't, we can table it.
Who was the second?
Mark. If we motioned it, do we have to table it, or do we have to?
I think Mike could just withdraw his motion.
What's that?
You could withdraw the motion.
If we're gonna table it, you could just withdraw your motion, so we don't have to vote on it. We've already, see what I mean?
It's been first and seconded.
Isn't that how it's supposed to work? So, correct me if I'm wrong, though, isn't it supposed to be, have to have a first and a second
To
to
have
open,
discussion,
to open
yeah.
discussion on it,
Yeah.
right?
You're right.
You did it right.
And now it has, we've opened discussion, but I don't think we wanna vote on this.
I think
turn
the
it
vote
down.
would be to amend it to ensure that it. To ensure that it
Well, you'd
aligns
have
with,
to-
with
yeah.
school policy,
So
that
you
we,
would have to amend your
that we
motion.
can award this.
Do you wanna,
So I'll amend it to say that, just ensure that it aligns with school policy, that we can award the bid without putting it out to bid.
okay, a second
And we
on
can
that?
award the contract without putting it out to bid.
I'll second it. Second it. Any more discussion on it? All in favor of doing that? Thanks, Mike.
And there is no 30-day clause.
There isn't, okay. So we can accept it at the next meeting,
I think that would be okay.
okay?
I'll talk to them too.
Yeah, if you could talk to them. But if we have to put it out to bid. Should we know?
If
Can
you, if you're gonna put it
Can
out to
you-
bid, you'll be. Probably
Well, if we put it out to bid, I'm sure we have
at
to
least
do it
2
for,
months,
yeah.
2 to 3 months.
Can you get back to us, Todd, with the policy, if we have one, or email us all the policy?
Yeah.
And then if we have to, maybe. do we need to, we don't need to vote on anything to put it out to bid, right? We can just let John put it out to bid.
His motion's pretty much captured it. You
Okay.
accepted it, if, the way I captured it, Mike, this is how I said the motion to accept the $30,044 three-year contract without going out to bid as it aligns with policy.
Okay. So if it lines up,
Aligns
if
with
it
policy, we're
doesn't,
good to go.
but if it doesn't, we,
If it doesn't, we'll have to revisit it.
but do we need to revisit it, or can John just start putting it out to bid?
We can put it out to bid.
Out the right RFI.
Okay. Okay,
I've seen if I could find the policy quickly, but I can't.
no. Okay, that it, or are we gonna go over the policies?
Public comment.
Okay, any public comment?
No, that's the policy.
Now we're on to policies.
Mike, do you wanna walk him through the policy?
Sure. So, policy update, the Title IX ones that we had tabled a couple times previously, because we had so many different copies. There was our old policy, there was the new policy adopted under the last administration, and there was the MSMA one, which was reviewed by Drummond Woodsum and recommended. And then there was also essentially just the statutes, which is the law that we have to follow regardless. So it doesn't matter what our policy says, ultimately, it's the law that we have to follow. So even if we adopt these and anything changes in the law, or they're not perfectly aligned with the law at some point, it's almost irrelevant. So you'll see some of these just cite law, they'll have the statute, info. Makes it pretty easy. Do you want to go through them one by one briefly, and we can just touch on changes we made?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that the packet though, Mike, doesn't start with the title ones, don't they start with the?
I was gonna say.
I'll just
that
start
would
with,
spend
I'll
authority.
start with DKC, I'll
Yep.
just,
You guys know them enough to go through, are they backwards? Does it start with
yeah,
the
that's,
last one?
It
Yeah,
doesn't matter,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter the order.
So which one you
so
starting with?
we're gonna start with DKC, we'll go in order of
Okay.
what they're
Yeah.
stapled.
Some of them will copy, they weren't, the changes should be in red, and looking around the table, and I see some of you have it, does yours have that, Mike, as well?
Mine, I don't have any
So
red.
you're short, Tom, does yours,
Yeah,
another
they-
ready? Yeah.
no, but I can tell now, it's like a lighter
Yeah, some of
gray.
them are copied in color.
Oh, yeah, it is a lighter gray, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can struggle with that, Mike, or you can just use the.
Mark, you
He's
just
got one.
threw
I
me
got
one over that had the, oh, you got one, okay.
Yeah.
So the opening paragraph remained the same, and under authorization, for reimbursements, we got rid of, the employee supervising administrator, and we changed it to building principal or superintendent. Obviously, Tom, for whoever's here, Todd for Tom, and when reimbursement applies to principal, it would be Todd. So a little bit of a change there. We added a paragraph for cell phone reimbursement shall be set at a predetermined rate and paid monthly. Eligible staff shall include building administrator and administrative assistant. So I know this was a topic that came up. We don't want to get in the habit of, paying for a ton of cell phones, especially with the landlines that we have. But we thought for emergency use, and we know these people are using between Tom and and Robin in the office are using her cell phone personally a lot. Even outside of the stipend related to sub calling, she's getting calls and texts in the evenings, on the weekends. And I don't know if it's a fair avenue to try to curb that with the general public and say you can't contact Robin on her personal cell because, we're not paying for that. You have to call the office during office hours. And so I think that that's a fair way to move forward, and especially in case of an emergency here at the school. I think that's likely those are the two people that would be kind of directing things as things happened. So that was the paragraph that we added in, because we did not have any specific language surrounding that.
So should in that there be a predetermined rate, or does that just go year to year base?
That would show up in your work agreement
Yeah, so it would be in the work agreement.
or your contract.
Yeah.
Contract work agreement.
So if it isn't technically in the contract,
We need to add it.
So say it was set at $50. If someone brought in a bill for $110, we're not gonna pay a full $110 bill. We understand it's a personal phone and they're being used on the personal side too, so we'll pay up to that predetermined
That's the way it
amount.
works with administrators throughout the district. They have a
Yes,
set
okay.
amount. That's what they get each one.
So do we discuss what we want?
50 is used is where most of them
I
went.
think that's where we're at right now, isn't it?
Now, the reason it got brought up, right, is because that's more than one of them. So they're making money.
Technically, we should know that.
Yeah, so like, we did look into it.
It's actually,
there in
they
the
actually have
bill.
to turn in, it actually says they have to turn in a bill with it to get a reimbursement, so we do know that, right? And that's actually public
I
information
guess,
once it's turned
I
in.
guess you'd wanna treat it like, how would you treat it if it was someone that didn't have that type of plan? You'd want it to be a set amount for the position, not for the plan.
Well, I get that, but yeah,
So
I-
I can speak for myself. Jefferson pays me for my cell phone. It's a set fee. Every 2 weeks. And there's no bill, anything, it's part of my contract. It's just a set fee. Per month.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah,
that we could make an amendment if you're interested to add verbiage just to say. Shall be set at a predetermined rate not to exceed. The amount on your bill, the amount of a bill. So if we set a predetermined rate of $50 and someone's bill is say 48, we're paying 48. But then you're getting into the business of validating receipts.
no, I get that, but it's the other, yeah, right, and I get the whole issue. Yeah,
I'm more game of keeping it. Of not pigeonholing ourselves into like a tight situation where we're looking at specific receipts or as someone comes and goes. Or even as this policy's amended in the future to include, say, at some point, we have to have 3 people. In this, and we have to add the 3rd position to this. You know, I don't wanna be verifying receipts for one person and not for another and trying to see, I feel like the predetermined rate keeps it general, and easy to manage, but.
I don't think anybody, I think it's just, I don't wanna speak for you, but I feel like we might be on the same page that we're not interested in verifying receipts either. It's not coming from there, and it might seem like nickel and diming, but it's maybe coming more from a place of, if we're talking about the specific amount, that $50. And maybe this isn't the place to talk about the specific amount, but I know you can get a cell phone plan for less than $50. So if the problem is that this person already has a cell phone plan that they've personally chosen for themselves, and then we're reimbursing $50, then that is a place where we could save the town money, because they could just get a separate cell phone plan that they just use for the school for $35, and those numbers come down.
Can you
All the
purchase a
time.
phone and get that?
I have one,
I mean, well,
yeah,
yeah.
so you can purchase it and get one, so. Do we wanna look at,
but, and that was some of it, and the other is, I don't think any cell phones. Off. If it's not designated for certain things, right, I don't think anybody should be getting calls late in the evening. For business stuff, that's what the phone lines are.
no,
for.
I get that, so, I
Right.
mean, but we can't control what parents are texting or calling, or you can't. Control Robin or anyone's ability to answer those in
But
the
on
evening,
the flip
especially a
side,
close
if
friend.
contracts start saying, right, when they're on time, they get paid. Now you've brought in another issue. Does that make sense?
It is definitely another issue, yeah.
Right? But it brings that in, if they're able to be contacted off hours. That
I'm
brings
not
up
saying
another
they should
issue.
be, right, I'm just saying
So
that,
it's,
The only other way around, you could provide them a cell phone.
yeah,
Which
well,
is
and it's something
cheaper.
I was actually long-term thinking.
so we
back
could,
at supplying district phones.
so we could do, we can look to table this one, this specific policy, and we can go back and rewrite this to say, instead of cell phone reimbursement, that, we're gonna have, the cell phones will be provided to these 2 people and paid for.
And I don't even think it's coming from that place either, cause I know we'd had the discussion with you, where it's just easier sometimes to have the one.
I guess
But-
they don't have one, but the flip side of that coin is then your
Yeah.
personal phone is subject to FOIA.
Right.
Yep.
And the good thing about is if it's actually a work phone, well, then you shut it off at night. Right?
Yeah.
And if somebody personally calls somebody, it's, look, this is off hours. If you
Yeah,
don't,
and I'm fine with that. Is that the direction people want us to take this one back?
It is almost 2 different discussions, because it's like, with the discussion, like we discussed the amount and it's reimbursed up to that certain amount. whether that amount is, 35, for example, or 50. And it's like, we have to decide, do we have that discussion, or do we have the discussion? Is it providing people with phones? And then we decide the amount.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we would have to do some research to see, obviously, what we can get for phones. And then there would be discussion about if those phones should have data, or if
Well,
they're
and that's
only,
the other
if
thing,
they're
right?
only texting and calling.
I mean, do they all, I can't imagine need data, right? If you're making phone calls and stuff
I
like.
think, my personal opinion is in this day and age with the emergencies that happen in different places, that data is a benefit. And I think necessary, but that's just my opinion.
Most of them will come with data, and it will be cost us nothing.
Okay,
Yeah, they'll be
So-
included.
so we'll look into costs of phones and plans and bring that back to the board. And we can have two options for verbiage based on what we have here, and then another one based on providing phones.
Yeah,
Okay,
that works. Thanks, Mike.
let's just comb through the rest of it to make sure there's no other changes. You see some other things, Augusta's changed to Noblesboro, IRS is crossed out, and federal mileage rate is what it should be anyways.
I'm not really sure why it said Augusta,
Yeah,
unless this was just a sample policy that.
We just,
adopted at some point.
gotcha.
And we added in tipping services. It was a topic that's come up. So we tried to keep it general so that we don't stick ourselves into a tight situation. When tipping for services provided is determined to be appropriate, the amount of the tip shall not exceed a pre-approved amount determined by the building principal or superintendent. Receipts are necessary for tip reimbursement. So, we had discussion about if people were going out to eat versus if we have, if they're going to New Hampshire on a trip, for example, and we're already paying $400 or $500 for, this is entertaining, you don't wanna be here? We're already paying $400 or $500 for the trip, is it appropriate to tip
Right.
20%? No, right? So, that's why it would have to be pre-approved and up to a certain amount. Reimbursement for classroom activities or events should receive prior approval from building administration and not exceed budgeted funds available. Receipts are necessary for reimbursement once again.
Yeah.
Any other changes with that, or is everyone good with that one?
So I've noted that one's gonna return with policy
Yeah.
for revision.
Okay.
And next, in my packet, I have GCFER.
Yep.
So this is one of the policies that we tried to condense a little bit. We had multiple policies related to administrative staff versus regular staff, and it basically applies to everyone across the board anyway. So we changed the wording from administrative staff to the hiring of professional staff and administrative procedure. So it's hiring of all professional staff now. You'll see where it says administrative throughout the policy. That's been struck and it just says professional now. On number 2, under recruitment, placing a display advertisement in appropriate print media. Obviously, we're not in a place where there's a major Sunday telegram or something here, so we're kind of pigeonholed in with that verbiage, so we changed it a little bit. Number 3, identifying and notifying other possible sources of potential candidates. And we struck out the remainder of that. On the next page, under C screening, number 2. Appoint a screening panel with representation of the board, administrator, or designee. So the board is the mandatory there, the administrator or designee in their place. And we got rid of as deemed appropriate. So there has to be a board member present during the screening of applicants. And that's before the interviews can happen. Number 5, we got rid of preliminary. We're not gonna do those, put the cart before the horse. So conduct reference checks as appropriate. And then D for interviewing. On number 1, appoint an interview panel consisting of the individuals who served on the screening panel. So if Jen and Mark were on we wouldn't want them screening candidates and then have different people go in to do the interviews, because they're already familiar with those candidates, so we're a little bit of consistency here. So people that served on the screening panel, we got rid of the rest of that says maybe, and with additional representation as deemed appropriate to the particular vacancy.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
In the past, who has been involved in the screening panel in the past? Was it just the principal or was there, I know the board in my experience wasn't part of that.
We
but
weren't part of
No.
that
No, I-
previously.
Like I said, we've never been a part.
Was there a group screening or was it just the principal superintendent? How did that work?
Totally just the principals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And keep in mind, we don't get an awful lot of bathrooms like we used to.
Yeah.
So sometimes you bring in everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we have
So nowadays,
anyway,
yeah.
right?
Right. So nothing else changes on that page. On to E for selection. Number 2. We struck that out completely. Submit a report to the superintendent, including the individual rating forms. We don't feel that's necessary. And then on page under F, notify and obtain approval of the board. So we got rid of agreement of the successful candidate pending board approval. So we're just, this is in the event that Todd has to hire someone during the summer or something's going on. He just has to, we put obtain approval from the board, or that was a different one, wasn't it,
Yeah.
Todd? Where I said notify.
This is just when I bring it to you.
This is
just
when he
another way
brings
of
it to
cleaning
us,
up that
okay.
language, so when I bring on your agenda, when you have nominations for positions.
Number 2, we struck, inform the interview panel. We don't think it matters. Number 3, appropriate placement on pay scale with board notification. So this was the scenario we were talking about where if we had approved the hiring of someone during the summer, Todd calls and offers them the job. But he has to notify us of where they were placed on the pay scale at that time. He can't come back and forth with them to us. So what that does is, you remember the predicament we had 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Where we had to pay out like
Right,
thousands of dollars,
for a misplacement.
right, for misplacement, and it was to bring other people up to that level because
Right.
we placed new people too high.
Yeah.
So this way it gets board eyes on everything. Under notification, number 1, change to professional staff. Same thing in H, it's new employee instead of administrator. Noblesboro Central School instead of local school unit at the bottom of paragraph H. And the last change is on K. We got rid of administrative. And we added providing appropriate notification of vacancy has been provided. So saying that. This one basically says that we can forego any steps previously mentioned. In the procedure to appoint a person who is currently here. But we have to provide the appropriate notification, like the newspaper stuff and putting it out there. Any questions on that policy?
No,
All right,
Do you want that one to go to a second read? As is?
I do. I don't know about everybody else.
Mm,
Is everybody good with the way that one came out?
That can go to second read.
Yeah, so that one goes straight.
second read. All right, GCFB. Is that who everyone is next?
Yep.
Again, same thing at the top, changed it to professional staff. In the first paragraph, gender identity or expression has been struck. And feel free to ask questions as we go. Second paragraph,
Did we do GCFB? You did you did the procedure, but you didn't do did you?
This is now
Got into the titles, haven't we?
the top, this is just recruiting and hiring.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought it was in the titles.
Sorry. so recruiting and hiring of professional staff, yeah.
Okay, yep.
Gender identity or expression has been struck. The second paragraph offers a definition on race, which we struck. And then at the very bottom, the last paragraph says plans for in-service training programs on gender identity for teachers, administrators, and the school committee has been struck. So it just ends prior to that. A lot of these were added under the last administration, and they're being struck now.
So why did you guys choose to strike those?
So the gender identity and expression is specifically the things that are asked to be removed currently under policy as far as, help me out, Todd, with what?
The reversion back to the.
The reversion
Yeah,
back to the
current Title
original
IX.
policies. So the original policies didn't have them in. They were added under the last administration. The current administration is saying to take all of these, that they want to see them removed. And then we did have discussion on the second paragraph, which describes race, and we didn't understand why we're offering a definition for one of the above categories and not all of the above categories. It's policy, not written to define certain things, but rather just to identify them. And ultimately, there's statutes surrounding this, so we're bound by the law regardless. So these are
Federal and state law.
federal and state. So gender identity and expression still falls underneath sex, sexual orientation, things of that nature.
It's all there, it's just cleaning up the language.
Well, sexual orientation is different from gender identity.
Okay. This is what we thought we would be striking as moving forward, so
Yeah,
welcome to feedback on any of it.
they are definitely two different things.
Okay, so you'll see that a lot of these policies feed into different policies as we get going through them. These Title IX ones all relate to each other. So there's quite a bit as far as being consistent with what we did, you'll see going through it. But yeah,
So are these policies, if we go with these policies, does that make us compliant federally and state?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. But the statute, as any of that changes, ultimately trumps the policy regardless.
Right.
So,
And this is still going through the court system, so eventually the courts may give the full scope of what Title IX is. So we may get, there's still federal court working on these things. And as the guidance becomes more definitive, then John wants to make sure that we get that information.
so do people want to think more on this one, or do people want to, I don't know how you want to proceed. I know there's a difference of opinion on this one.
Yeah, I'd be more with this one. Staying on first read.
And the thing you gotta remember is that Title IX and main law differ in some areas too, so there's that, this group is wrestling with as well.
Yeah.
So this would bring up another question for me. If this stays on first read, it stays on first read at the next meeting. We bring this back under review or under opinion from an individual on the board. If we don't add it back in and say we're comfortable with how it's written now, we bring it back for first read again without making a change, what happens?
The board would have to motion for it to go to second read. You may have a board member disagree with the other board members.
Okay.
You may not have unanimous 5-0.
Right, no, on the vote, right, so the question is, if we're going back to first read, it could theoretically keep doing that, or vice versa, we could take this policy back, add it back in, bring it back to first read and have someone say, I like how it was before.
You're saying it could be quagmired
Right.
further, yeah.
Right,
So at what point do we say, based on a difference of opinion on these policies, at what point do we say it moves to second read? We have a first vote, a second vote, then a discussion, and surrounding those differences.
Yeah, I think
and
that's a
then-
you
fair
got that
question, and then we vote on
You
it
have
when
to have
we.
a motion to
there.
vote.
I was gonna say, while going over these, are we supposed to be voting on each one? Or is this just gonna, just first read and we're, you know what I mean?
First read, and then we go to second read unless it was directly said, bring it back for changes like the cell phone one.
DKC, you've said back to policy committee, the second, you did say go to second read with GFCB, the procedure that goes along with this policy.
I think it's fair, now that it's gone to the policy committee, for them to have the opportunity to go back to first read once. And then be brought back, now that we can review them after you've looked at them, and then that they would be voted on. How do
Okay,
you guys feel about?
so take it back for first read again, is what you're saying?
Yeah, anything that, cause this is the first opportunity we've had to look at them since
Yep.
you guys.
So I guess,
And then next time we would just just to move, right, we would vote.
No,
so
she's saying if
second
it
read.
stays at first read, then we wouldn't be voting next time.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right.
That we
you're-
would.
Oh, you're-
Okay.
Yeah, we
I have
vote
my
comes
chance,
back.
I have my chance to look
If-
at it,
Right.
and
And then
this
we go to
period
second
right
read
here.
or vote.
If it
Yeah,
comes
anything
back
goes-
Exactly the
yeah.
same, right, then we just vote on it.
That's why we use the language that we chose, the agenda, the updates and
Yeah.
first reads discussion. We wanted it to be a discussion for the board.
Right.
Mhm.
And if there were any changes, it would be voted on to change it at the next one.
That's where we have an opportunity to look at these, to bring them up
Right.
with you guys to have the discussion, but then nothing gets quagmired, any votes happen at the
Right.
next meeting.
Yep, okay, I think that makes sense.
And depending on when the committee meets, I could certainly send these out to you electronically. So you
Yeah,
can have
and
that
that-
for,
Yeah, if you guys actually, yeah, if they change things on some of them, maybe it would be easier
I can send them all.
for us
Just-
to all have
you
them, you
can't-
know, I like paper.
You can't do
copy.
any board business in email.
Right, right.
No, right,
You can
right.
just be informational only.
Put them in the drive and
Yeah.
say that they're, the
Yeah.
updated
Yeah,
ones are
they're
there.
ready. You can tell me, I've got a paper copy sitting in the corner.
Yep.
So
All right.
our
Yeah.
policy as it stands now, is it this? Less the scratched out parts, or is it completely different if we were to
It
have a
is-
Title
it's
IX
The
issue?
policy is what's there, minus
there
the
now.
red and
Gotcha.
minus the
Okay.
scratch out.
Yeah.
The red is always gonna be stuff they added.
Right.
The scratched out is what they're just getting rid
And
of.
you only
make
see it
sure-
on this version. When it comes to as a second read, all that stuff will be gone.
Right.
Yeah.
After reading like 3 of each last time, I just wanna make sure that, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Is a lot. All right, so policy AC, now it looks like it goes to the top for me. Everyone else, you have policy AC?
Yeah.
So same things, Ree, that we're gonna see on the
You're probably
For
gonna see the same,
consistency.
you're gonna see the same.
gender
thing.
identity or expression, gender
Yeah, that's
identity.
good.
I just want to cut your
Yeah.
chase and say.
Right,
Let's save everybody some time, yeah.
This one offered, I will say, this one offers 3 different definitions instead of just race. And that's the only, those are the only changes to that policy.
Mhm.
Policy ACAA.
Yep.
Same thing, you can see everything that's said. And those are the only changes in that policy. Policy ACAAR. Is that the one everyone else has on top?
are we on ACAR or AA? Would you just do that?
I'm on ACAAR. We just did ACAA.
Yeah, now the
Oh.
R.
I don't think that's supposed to be in that.
No, I got it too.
You got it, Joe?
Skipped it.
I got it.
It's not supposed to be in there.
I've got it too.
Yeah.
If everybody would like to rip those out and hand it back to Todd, please. I don't think that has anything to do with us.
No, at least not good. Not extremely confidential stuff.
But
That's
still,
No,
it has nothing to do with us. So ACAAR, okay.
So
ACAA.
ACAA, that will go back to first read,
I would say so.
yeah, just checking.
ACAAR, see down at the bottom, what's struck out. On the second page. You will see the same thing. And then down at the bottom. We did leave some, this is a little bit different than some that you saw before. This says number 5, sexual orientation, then it actually says under Maine law, this means. So we left that because that's the statute regardless of if we want to scratch it. And then number 6 is scratched, number 7, gender identity scratched, and I think those are the only changes in this entire
Mike, which one are you on right now?
one as well, ACAAR,
Thank you.
correct? Yeah. And this is a long one, and that was all that was in this one.
The R's are your procedures, those are the ones that have been.
The brass tack.
Yeah, that's.
You wanna really make sure that.
Well, that's just, and that's where most of the changes occurred between, the policies stayed pretty much the same between the two administrations. It was the procedures that really changed.
Yeah.
That wasn't the policy itself.
AC,
That was a long one, huh?
it is, ACAB, hold on, there.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll just make sure everyone's on the same page before I move
What
on.
was the determination of ACs?
First read.
First read, same.
send it back.
Yeah. Mm.
When you say, I guess I'm confused by the terminology we're using right now. When you say send it back.
Well,
Bring
actually, yeah,
another- To be, you're gonna be bringing another first read to the next meeting.
No, my understanding was we're bringing a second read next meeting, which is the vote.
You have to approve your first read, you have to approve what goes to your second read. You haven't approved first reads yet tonight. You didn't take any votes to approve your first reads of your policies. Some have said go
I
back.
didn't
to
think we
policy.
voted on the first read.
Past practice is bad. They don't have to, as long as everyone's in agreement. The only one I have right now that says go to second read, as far as the notes I've been taking, is the GCFB -R.
Or does it go from
I
first
have
read?
BKC back to policy, I have GCFB back to policy, and I have AC back to policy.
So my understanding, based on our conversation, was nuances based on verbiage that we wanted to see changed was the stuff that we were taking to vote. So a first reading went to the policy committee, came back with a recommendation for a first read, and then it would go to a vote and discussion. Well, a first, a second, and a discussion at the second read, and that was where it would either be voted down and sent back for revision to the language, to the verbiage, or it would pass.
As long as that was everyone,
that's-
everyone's understanding around
And that's what I thought Reed was saying a little bit ago, was that it would come back.
Mm. I don't know, I mean, I guess
So I guess-
either way is fine with me, like, it's-
I think it
the
should,
process isn't really what's important versus the end result.
Why don't we, you give the feedback to this group,
Mhm,
we'll consider this first read,
mhm.
they'll take it back, they'll do their work on it. We'll bring it back for the second read next meeting, and then the vote can occur, and you can either vote it down, and then it will go back to them, or you can approve it.
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's how it should be done, because they were set out to bring us first read,
Yep.
right? And basically, we should vote on it on second read, because if we're not gonna do it that way, well, then we need to discuss every one of them that isn't agreed upon now and vote on every single one of them to go to second read.
Mhm.
Because you can't just throw it back as a first read, because the committee already gave us what they wanted to bring to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So we've gotta go to second read on all.
Yeah.
So maybe, I guess even in the first one. We should be going to second read, unless they want to change things in that one. Does that make
Well, I
sense?
think they'd have to go back and look at it based on the feedback from the board.
Right, because they
and
may
then
want to
we'd have
change
to
or not
identify
change,
In a different.
Based on a
color.
recommendation.
and then that comes back
Yeah.
to first read.
I guess my question then becomes, we are allowed to do business in emails. Then, but we can have discussion between.
You can send suggestions, you're not voting, you're not taking any action.
And in any email you send, if you send it to the entire board.
Yeah.
You should put, please do not respond to this email.
But it's okay to
They
send
have to be.
emails to Mike and Martin.
Yeah. Yeah, is that what is that? I mean, is it
No, they're just getting.
As long as-
Okay.
yeah.
Soliciting feedback is all they're doing.
Yeah. Okay,
So on
ACAB,
ACAB, yes, you see what's struck, there's no new language added. ACABR. Down under section 1 definitions. We got rid of, we left includes race, obviously, but we got rid of trying of an attempt to define it. And then number 6 was struck.
That's similar to.
And then I believe that is it for that whole policy. I thought that. That's it.
that's all of them.
That is it. We have 3 non-related to Title IX and the rest are related to Title IX.
So it should be 8 total.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
It was a lot of work, thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, Mike.
Wasn't much help.
Yes, you were.
Future board topics. Anybody have any?
I would say, if anyone has policies they wanna see brought up, to raise them. And if you bring policies to each meeting, I know we're gonna kind of comb through them all. but they have dates of adoption at the end of each policy, so when we're going through them and looking, we're just gonna start with kind of the old ones first, but if there's something on your mind that you wanna see addressed earlier,
So that being said,
yeah,
the I actually, one, I want that, two, I want it to be addressed sooner, and the reasoning I said that is because at the facilities meeting. So we have a company, right, that. For the overall scope of the project we're looking to maybe do, they give a cap price. They don't bid, they will not bid, but they'll give us a cap price not to exceed, meaning there is no change orders or anything like that. So if we have policy that says it has to go out to bid, we've actually just lost somebody. For the entire scope of this project, that might be a good person to use. So meaning everything has to go out to bid may not be. I think it should be looked at, and it may not be the best way to have everything worded,
and we're not even 100% sure that that's what the policy
Right.
says, but.
or if there is
think it
even a
does.
policy on putting things out. But I'd like that one
Okay,
kind of brought to the front, because we are trying to move forward with getting numbers together.
Right.
And we actually want to move faster than slower.
We will have to check with main law, because there could be main law that.
I do know,
Okay,
I mean,
so
I shouldn't say schools, but I know like.
I've been
towns,
clicking
they don't
through them and
put
I
any-
just found this one. Bidding and purchasing requirements. Bidding and purchasing required by law, main law requires the board to competitively bid property and casualty insurance. School bus and transportation contracts in excess of $4,000, school building construction alterations and repairs to exceed $250,000. Bond and anticipation notes for state subsidized school construction projects and lease purchase financings of buildings whose lease purchases cost or qualify for state subsidy. There's quite a bit of language here.
So which one would back you up, the 4,000?
The $4,000 one says, we must competitively bid property and casualty insurance, school bus and transportation contract in excess of $4,000.
Okay, what was the next one? There was another one. you
Building
said.
projects.
The next one is
Over.
building construction alterations and repairs over $250,000.
Okay, so that's over a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, but so that means everything's gotta go out to bid by state over that.
Would you like me to read you the statute?
We get the
Can
picture.
you, yeah,
I can share it, yeah.
could you share it with me?
Okay.
So that means we probably aren't gonna be able to use these guys, or if we decide they want
Let's
to.
bring it down.
Yeah. Did they just give us a not to exceed bid?
Okay, so. I
And
found-
actually, but nothing says we have to take cheapest bid, right?
True.
There is another thing, bidding and purchasing not required by law. Where bidding and purchasing is not required by law, it shall be the policy of the school unit to competitively bid purchases of equipment, supplies, materials, or services over $15,000. So anything over $15,000 to be received in services, materials, supplies, or equipment has to go out to bid.
Do you think that's why
If it's over
originally
15,000,
our policy had said 15?
it might have.
We've dropped
You
it,
dropped it.
right?
Yeah.
But that would technically mean
We could
the
approve,
contract.
we could
doesn't-
approve the 1-year contract of 9,000 because it's under 15 without putting it out to bid.
Right,
But if we approve a 3-year contract at 30,000, we're double that amount,
Unless you have policy language that says you can re-up,
right?
once you've. accepted.
Annually, right?
right, so, but we could also motion to accept a 3-year contract. In the first year's. Do what I mean? The first year's expenses, right? And then every year we just have to. Does that make sense to you? Cause if they want a 3-year contract, we can accept the 3-year contract and accept to spend 9,000.
Per year.
Each,
Yeah.
that year, and then based on the next year for approval, right? For
Mhm.
the amount. I guess if some language was drafted up,
I'll double check the policies too.
okay, yeah,
So I'm gonna write down this policy number so I know that we want to review it anyways. It's
I'm gonna share the statute with,
NEPN.
I'll share with you too, you all want it.
please,
I'll send it to you.
might as well.
Okay, quite a long policy. There's a lot of parts to it.
Okay. Anybody else? No,
One that I wanted to bring up, policy was one, I think we touched on it when I was on the board previously. But I wanted to make sure that there was no overlap with the last administration and current administration. And one of my concerns with these is funding. We've all saw in the news previously how they were threatened to withhold federal funds from people who weren't compliant with what they wanted to see for policy. And so one of the things that I had written down to look at was library use, what books are in here, what things. As far as I'm concerned, if it can't be accessed through the internet firewall, which is most things at a school, it shouldn't be in literature here in the library, is my thought. I don't want to have a picture book of something that throws red flags on the internet based on restrictions. So that was policy that I was gonna look up and review as well to see what possible overlap there was.
We had a vote on that.
On that policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did it, but it was during the last administration. It wasn't during, so what my concern is that there could be things in there that aren't appropriate now.
right, or aren't appropriate, and and I agree with that, if our firewall won't let you look it up. Then why should it be in a book?
Right.
Yeah, no, and I'm not sure what the policy said when we voted on it.
We can,
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd throw that one on there
Look it
too.
up, I don't.
yeah, revisit it,
Yeah.
cause I know it was you who brought it up last time and we
Yeah.
had a vote as a board. I think it was something like the librarians.
Discretion, I think.
Which I actually, I think that's what it was, cause I didn't like that, because what if the librarian changes? Right, we get a new librarian and they have a different view on
Right.
things. If we leave it to the librarian's discretion.
And I think a lot of that was at the suggestion of the superintendent too, was like, we're not gonna comb through all these books. And I
Right.
understand that too, because
It's a lot,
it's almost an impossible task.
but at a point it needs to be done.
Right.
So yeah, I appreciate you put that one on there too, just to re-glance at it.
Is there anything else anyone has like, that's pressing that they wanna raise up?
And the reason you wanna revisit it is because of the current administration and worries about losing funding
I
because it's not
think-
compliant.
I think that it's all tied together. I'm not saying that's solely the reason. So the current administration came out, as you know, and said gender identity, gender expression, all these things, trans, same bathrooms, all these things that did change at certain schools. Our schools never had that, a lot of that happen here, so we're not as far down that path as some are. But they were threatening to withhold federal funding over people that weren't gonna be compliant to what they were requesting. So I think that's just a layer of our reasoning to why some of the things in the policies are being removed, that we're removing, and that's a layer of why I would wanna look at this policy to ensure that everything is kosher across the board and consistent with what our other policies are doing here as well. I don't think that we should keep an old policy that could be inconsistent to something that we're making changes to or updates to right now.
Possibly.
Possibly, it might not.
Anything else? Okay, I would be looking for a motion to go into executive session. One MRSA 4056D, labor contract discussion.
I will move to go into executive session for all those reasons you just said.
Great,
Second.
and second, Jen, all those in favor? 5-0, it is 7:07. I thank you for coming tonight. This is time we gotta, all the public's gotta leave.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, without objection, meeting is adjourned
At 7:38.
at 7:38.